And as the title suggests, there are questions around whether Google is a monopoly in the ad space market. Believe it or not, Microsoft announced earnings and is up something like 4% yesterday on strong earnings. And so we'll see if that carries through to the rest of tech and lots of other fun things happening in the world of finance. So without further ado, let me invite some people up and get the conversation rolling. Just hang tight for one moment.
Good morning, opinion. You may have missed the early mornings thing on Microsoft. I think they're down this morning.
Yeah, they cut their earnings estimate. Oh, wrong mic, sorry.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's a lovely red day. The
Morning,
sky
Wall Street Bets. What's up, baby boys and ladies?
Wall Street's Kool-Aid Man has entered the building.
Here we go, baby. I'm in the building. So real quick, I posted my
Whoa. Let us settle in just a moment, baby boy. Let us
you
settle
got
in.
it. You
Let's
got
relax.
it. You got it. Give me a moment. I'm gonna deal with my kids. I'll be right back.
Yeah, let me deal with my Kool-Aid. I haven't even drank the Kool-Aid yet. Let's relax.
You can tell he's a morning person. I used to be that guy at work. Like, why are you at 100 already? Sorry.
Because I woke up and hit the biggest dab I had. Dabs.
That's right, Tuesday Fly. Bring that fucking energy, bro.
Isn't it Wednesday?
I thought weed was supposed to mellow you out.
Not if you got that fire sativa, baby.
That's right. Sativas all the way.
Okay, we don't
All
endorse drugs here
All
on WSB. Just to let you guys know. We do have a Discord if you're interested in that, though. Check that out sometime.
Welcome to Weeds and Ads, folks. But we do also have plays, and they are as follows.
Drum roll, please. So we'll start it like this. Sorry, let me get to my list real quick.
Here we go again. I think you come prepared next time, bro. Come on.
I'm here. I had dabs first.
Bring
Dabs
that energy
first.
back.
Here we go.
Energy. Yo, what's up, Wall Street Bets? Come on, start over. Let's go.
Okay, Wall Street Bets, Grand Rising. Here we go. Happy Wednesday. We're here, and here we go with the plays of the day. So I'm going to stay in COSM, Cosmos. I've been in there, made some dough. We're back. I got a good feeling about today. We also have INPX. For those of you that ran with me yesterday, GNS will still run today, in my beliefs. We have BTB. We also have CFRX. We have LGMK, GMBL. And the last one is AUPH. And I'll be back with a couple answers to any questions. Give me a moment, fellas. Do y'all thing. Thank you.
No one ever has questions. All right, let's go, boys and girls.
I just want to call out one of those tickers. GMBL, the literal ticker is gamble. That's meme worthy.
That says Wall Street Bets all day, doesn't it?
Still haven't left off from the main stats, huh?
Well, some of us know more about the companies we invest in than just their tickers. But yeah, there's still a heavy meme stock presence here. And
Yeah, like Google has a search engine.
I think they also do some other stuff. But speaking of meme stocks, what caused the big rip on GameStop and AMC on Monday, and then the big dip on Bed Bath & Beyond also on Monday? Are they all related, or what's going on? Money flowing out of Bed Bath & Beyond into the other memes?
Well, then it must have done a reversal yesterday.
Yeah, because I think it was just the markets consolidating. Like they're just moving the money around to get it to go where they need it to go and shit. It's just bullshit in the end.
Yeah, and in the pre-market, it's kind of following through that reversal now where Bed Bath & Beyond's a little bit up and everything else is red in the meme world.
All right, fair enough. Interesting. Welcome, Desmond. Got some buy insights for us today? Because honestly, it feels so weird to me.
Tomorrow is basically the most important event coming up. That's GDP. So the consensus of the Q4 estimates are around what was that? 2.7 according to Bloomberg, and according to Atlanta Fed, it's around 3.5%. So tomorrow could be basically the inflection point of like growth is heading down. So will market take it as positive? Catalyst like Fed now has to cut rates, so let's go up to the Fed pivot and then later on crash, or will market start going down from tomorrow sharply? No,
So,
it's a
Desmond, if
very
I'm understanding this right, we're expecting anywhere between 2.7 to 3.5% GDP growth. Anything below that would be bearish.
no. The last Q3 GDP was around 3.2%. But now the Q4 GDP advanced estimates will come around tomorrow. So Atlanta Fed is projecting around 3.5%. They are saying GDP will rise even more. But the consensus on the Bloomberg is around 2.7. And on investing.com, if you'll go there, it's around 2.5. So if GDP will shrink to around 2.5 or 2.4, let's say, so that means currently we are in a recession. Like the GDP must be even below than 2%. So market should price like recession going forward. But market could also take it like as Powell should be now cutting rates. So let's go up till Powell will cut rates around May or June FOMC, and after that, after Fed pivot, we could crash. So anyone can make a bull or bear case around this. So like we have to wait till tomorrow, like what is actually going to happen. And this, in my opinion, tomorrow's GDP is going to be important. Even important than a February FOMC, which is basically a 25 basis point hike. And the CPI will obviously be important, but it's later on after FOMC.
Desmond, if you don't mind, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything. I just feel like you would be an expert to have an understanding on this. Scald brought this to our attention yesterday. Adani Group, Hindenburg Research came out with a big report on them. What's your insight on Adani Group, and if that has any reflection to any American stocks?
To be honest, like I have been to many people in our markets have shorted Adani stock a lot of time, and they have got absolutely hammered because he manipulates the stocks like too. We can't even look at this valuation. Like it is trading around one stock is trading around 800 times the valuation, and we in India makes fun of an IPO called Mama Earth. It is going to come around I don't know, and its valuation is around 1000 x. That is a multiple basically, right? And also the company isn't making that much money. And Adani has one stock is at 800, one is at 300x, and one more is around also 300, 400, and the rest are trading around like 90s, 80s. So basically, the Adani will get liquidated. His stock will suffer if there is a global recession like happening around the globe. So that is the only bear case I can think of Adani. But there's a lot of malicious. I wouldn't recommend anyone to directly short Adani stock. But yeah, the rumors are true, like what they have published.
Well, most of the people here can't short it because we don't have direct access to Indian markets. So that's why I was wondering if they have any overseas. I mean, I read the entire article. I was trying to figure out if this affects American markets in any way. I don't think so, unless you know of some sort of link between the Adani Group and an American company. I think this is a nothing burger for us. I don't think there's anything we have to do.
What about emerging market ETFs?
I mean, I would imagine that would be too big of a basket. They would probably have too many stocks for one single stock to really move it. I could be wrong. Maybe we could find an emerging market India that might have, I don't know. That would
Find one that's managed by Kathy Woods.
Sorry, fellas. I'm gonna step in real quick. Hey, I got an options play for you, brilliant motherfuckers real quick. I jumped in yesterday. We got RIG. Okay, RIG. It's a May 19th call at $8. I think I bought 20 of them. I bought in at it looks like I'm at 39. Hold on, let me check right here. Yeah, my price paid was 0.39 for 20 lots. RIG May 19th call, $8.
So $8 strike price.
There you go.
Damn, you are fucking bullish, man.
Big
My
big
shares gonna
balls.
get called away. I already wrote a bunch of $6 shares, and they're gonna get called away right now.
Hello, everyone. So I mentioned this in the Confused Money Talk earlier, but VIX has been up in the futures pre-market anywhere between, it's currently at 366. It was up almost 5% at one point. Dixie is trending up by almost 1/10 of a point. Usually this is bad for equities, and we can see already SPY's looking to open 5 points down. So have a feeling that the red day in the background is going to hold pretty well. 2 earnings plays I'm taking today. Tesla, these are both iron condors, 10 points wide. Tesla, I'm looking to be short the 120 put and the 175 call. Looking to get maybe 360 for that. And then in IBM, looking to be short the 130 put and the 155 call. And yeah, hoping to get like $3 out of that, but IBM's not quite volatile enough. We'll see though when the options market opens up.
Well, IBM isn't volatile, but if you move like 50 cents, the option chain will go berserk. I've been playing that for a
Correct.
few years now.
IBM, I actually last year I played a lot of lizards on IBM because it likes to just sit within range, and like long-term bullish, but you know, who knows what'll happen right after earnings. So I'm playing it neutral right now, and then I might roll one of the sides to turn it into a lizard and just let it sit for the extra premium.
Yeah, it moves like about 20% every quarter due to the earnings cycle, which is very interesting. It's very predictable, which is kind of scary because I don't want to get complacent. So I've been playing that and been flipping that in 21 and 22.
Good morning, everyone. So last week I brought up getting puts on phase. I got out Monday. Sorry, got out Monday for a 20% return. If you're still in it, it's still going down, but I don't know if you still want to be in it. It's getting pretty low. But just wanted to update you guys on that.
What's the stock? Phase?
Yes, phase. It's like the gaming group.
Oh,
FAZE.
right?
Yes, FAZE.
I thought you were talking about N phase, which is also going down, much to my chagrin.
I've got one more for you, Wall Street. We got this JAGX. It looks like it's up about 3%. It closed at 4.95 last night. Market cap is 718 million. Outstanding shares is 145. We had some news this morning. Keep an eye on it. You know how this goes, up, down, and get in. Find your entry point, boys.
Oh yes, this is the biomedical thing that I suggested no one invest in.
So you know me, I'm going balls deep.
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
And have fun going to the stock investors version of a health clinic.
It's been a while since we've had a Bag Holders Anonymous opinion. I think maybe we need to organize another one of those too.
This is the weekend. Yes. Where's loose? Poke them right now. Get back to you guys with a time and date.
So I'm looking at this Invesco fund called PIN. That's Invesco India ETF. I have not found the Adani Group on there. However, I am kind of guessing that some of these companies will have exposure to Adani, like banks, a huge sector of banks that are in there from India, and then utility companies are in there. So if anybody has some better suggestions, please bring it up.
Before we do India and Adani again, I just want to point out the JAGX. If anyone is looking at it and the price action, the reason that it multiplied its price
gives
is
leverage.
so the reason JAGX multiplied its price is they had a 1-to-75 split, reverse split the other day, so that they could actually stay listed. And so price action alone does not indicate value.
We don't care about value. We care about that green bag.
Well, value is respected around here too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We do have some boomer portfolios, and so we should respect those boomer portfolios. Not to say those boomer portfolios are doing so well at this time for some, but we digress.
And on that note, I have one more. ATNF, 17% this morning. You're looking at a 7 million market cap, some bullshit. But at the end of the day, if you can get a good entry point, we may see about 425 today. So do what you do. ATNF.
This is also the result of a reverse stock split, 1-to-20.
You go.
Wait, is he going to mention Disney next?
So if I could, I'd like to talk about the GDP number like Desmond was talking about. Let's swing it back to
Yep. I just
Yeah.
So my thoughts, if I can share with this, is let's look in the last year with the GDP prints. I just looked at that and all the FOMC dates coming up this year. One print does not cause a trend. Two used to cause a trend, and that federal agency would used to call it a recession. So technically, last year we had one, but they changed the goalpost again, as we talked about earlier this week, and how they're going to compute CPI going forward. But that's a separate one. How is that going to affect the market? I think it's going to not really change their quarter point next week. I don't think that's going to be affecting it. So the next GDP print, which could show another old textbook style recession, if we have two reduced GDP prints in a row, that would be not till the June meeting, which they're probably not going to do anything anyhow. But if they see it going negative or something worst case scenario, would they cut? I don't think so. That would be a low percentage opposite side bet. But how could that affect the banks or any of your portfolios in general, risk on, risk off? I don't think it's going to swing it that much. But the markets are volatile. What do I know? Anyhow, open it up. Thank you.
My problem
I was
with gaming
explaining
out
that
this
in
GDP
both
print
scenarios,
is, as kind of Desmond was indicating, there's just so many things that can go like.
basically in both scenarios, in bullish and bearish case for stocks, the chances for bond rallying is up in both cases. So let's suppose like stocks go up due to they start pricing in that Fed pivot, like Fed should lower rates. So stocks rally, bonds will also rally in this scenario. And let's suppose that that scenario of growth slowing down. So stocks drop. At this time, bonds won't drop. Bonds will rally because the growth, because the stocks went down because of growth and due to that negative correlation. So in both scenarios, bonds will rally. So you can buy like call options on TLT, TMF, depending on your risk tolerance before a GDP print. For that, basically for that swing.
Thank you for that.
What was the call option for that?
You need the ticker.
Yeah, he was saying, what were the plays on that? I heard TLT.
TLT is basically a 20-year treasury bond. It tracks Barclays 20-year treasury bond, and TMF is basically a 3x leverage play on TLT.
What do you think about investment grade?
investment grades are okay up till till that point that credit spreads don't blow up. So HYG is great. There is also one interest rate hedged HYG that is also great. But if credit spread blow up, then government bonds are the only bond that are safe.
Just to add to Desmond, TMV is the inverse 3x ETF.
TMF.
No, I know. I'm just trying
TMF.
to. Yeah, I know. TMV is the other direction if you want to hedge. Just to throw it out there, TMF and TMV are coupled in two directions. I opened some TMVs long term. That's just for hedging, because there's a ungodly high amount of open interest in February for calls in the 130 range. That's not a bearish stance on it. It's just a hedging play. Just throwing it out there. And can we go back to Adani Group? Because I kind of find a couple of tickers that might interest the group right now.
You got some? Fire it up, man.
Okay, so I posted 3 on the chat, and I think the one that actually has literal exposure is the INDA that has Adani Group in the exposure for this. They have like a Adani Groups in there. Some of the other ones, like offered by Wisdom Tree and Invesco, they just invest in the Indian economy, which, in my opinion, would actually have a bigger fallout because people don't quite expect those to have issues and exposures. Since the news is already out for Adani Group, everybody's going to look to try to short the hell out of them. I mean, that would just be like a battle strategy.
You said there's a literal India ETF, so INDIA, and you said that Adani Group is in there. INDA. Yeah, so that India ETF, cool.
Yeah, it's offered by iShares.
Short the banks, HDFC Bank, if you want to.
Oh, Desmond, you lagged there. Could you say that? Could you hit your mic and say that again?
Yeah, Adani's kind of leverage in the SBI Bank and HDFC Bank. So HDFC Bank is, I think, traded on US stock exchange.
There's also the India 50 by iShares, which are Indian large caps. That's INDY. I don't know how much of a hit that's going to take. If you want a leveraged one, there's a 2x bullish INDL. Probably don't recommend that unless you think it's going to happen, this week.
Oh, I just heard somebody was bearish on Microsoft. XLK is I guess the ETF that has heavy exposure on Microsoft. So if Microsoft tanks, that's going to tank pretty badly. And I opened up some last night, but it was so illiquid I had to close it out because I had no idea how it's going to play out. But
I mean, we should note the fact that Microsoft earnings moved the SPY 1.5 and then 2 points, 1.5 up and then 2 points down, because Microsoft is such a large bucket that it moved all of the indices along with its earnings. So really everything is going to move with Microsoft, and with Microsoft looking to open 5 points below where it closed after, gosh, what was the movement last night? Up to 254 and then down to 234 in pre-market, with a close right smack dab at like 241. Yeah, 242, excuse me.
Well, and if they're showing such a slowdown, I think what other people in the markets generally are doing, they're extrapolating. I know it's just one company, but now there's probably more of a market idea that other people are going to miss. So, wow, the whole market's overvalued. I think that's why you saw that larger downtrend.
Their numbers were okay.
It was the guidance.
Guidance
Yes.
was poor.
I think they have some underlying security issues. Obviously, we won't go over them right now if you're not familiar with them. Basically, they've had some issues with one-node attachments spreading malware. And last night, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but their Outlook, Microsoft 365, and the Xbox Live, and I believe Microsoft Teams all went down. So they're not starting off very well this morning.
Wait, was that related to the
Could not hear you, Mr. Robot.
He's dialing in from Microsoft Teams.
That's some. Can you try the DSL or the Ethernet?
No, this isn't Microsoft. This is Verizon in the boonies.
Okay, try again. It's coming in clear.
So I was asking if it was related to the, they were supposed to be doing a one-time update. I know, like, the one article I read was specifically talking about the Xbox consoles, but they were going to have a power save mode downloaded onto all the consoles. Was it going down related to that? Possibly a bug in the system?
Maybe that's what happened on the NYSE yesterday. They updated it and did it at 9:28 like some fool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's something we haven't talked about. That affected over 200 stocks.
Yeah, and they're busting some trades.
Yeah, some of the early morning trades, they are canceling them. They're going to null and void the sales, which if I was someone who had got one on a good price, I'd be pissed as heck.
Well, I don't feel as bad.
Commodities market? What is it? Can't believe this is happening. It's nuts. You see this kind of shit in commodities all the time, but come on.
Yeah. I know.
Scald, can you take the bag off of your head?
He's always driving at this hour. I'm just guessing. He's somewhere.
Yeah, Scald, your mic is really muffled, Scald.
Yeah.
Oh,
are you like
sorry.
slouching?
How about that? Is that a little better?
Still muffled.
A little bit better. Okay, Kidnappers of Scald, can you please, like, let him speak enough? We want to hear his trades and his insight.
Well, if my mic's doing bad, I don't think it's going to get any better. So,
is that
we'll move on.
All right, moving right along. Scald, come back in when you can now. So I do not have any updates on the Microsoft directly, just that it was a downtime, and there obviously was an outage targeting the teams. So we'll see if that creates a problem. But it was on Reuters about 2 hours ago, just a fresh article on that. Excuse me. So yeah, I digress.
So Bitcoin took a turn as of 8 o'clock this morning. So it's looking like Sleepy Nate's red prediction and going down is going to happen, and Bitcoin concurs.
Sucks to be a crypto bro. But going back to our headline, so what's up with this renewed talk about Google being a monopoly?
I don't know exactly, so I don't mean to come in so quickly, but I just want to let you guys know that Google has said that they will allow Indian users to choose their default search engine via choice screen now, and they are updating Android compatibility requirements to introduce changes for partners to build non-compatible or forked variants in India.
Opinion, you wrote the headline. You want to expound upon that?
Well, I think it just stems from the DOJ lawsuit yesterday that made the news. And then there's a lot of lawsuits pending in the Supreme Court about Section 230, which has been swirling about the tech space for quite a while. So I don't know.
They've been talking about Section 230 for about what 6 or so years at least.
Yeah.
So
this
the
one made it to the
DOJ,
Supreme Court.
you're saying they just filed an antitrust suit yesterday, or it made the news yesterday?
Yeah, there was a new one that made the news yesterday.
Yep.
And then there's a pending Supreme Court hearing on Section 230 about YouTube. That's going to be next month.
So the YouTube one, Gonzalez versus Google, I think, is probably not going to be of any big concern. It came out of the Ninth Circuit in the U.S., which, as I'm told, is the clown show of the U.S., and they already won their first 2 appeals. But any weakening of Section 230 could harm Google. But this DOJ case is what's more important. They're down 1.6%. But that could also just be in sympathy with broader markets today in pre-market.
I mean, I know at least politically there's been a huge push, at least on the conservative, the Republican side, about breaking up Google's and its monopoly. Because I think what is it like 85% of all online searches happen through Google, and they have a huge do their preferred ads and that. So as an investor, I say screw you and shut up. But as a regular person, I'm like, yeah, you guys kind of have a point.
I think the thing to remember with anything that's antitrust, that is always viewed from the lens of being harmful to the user. So if Google being as dominant as it is in search is actually harming users and preventing better products from coming to market, then that makes sense. Sorry, this actually relates to their their advertising business. So if it's preventing other businesses from finding ad inventory elsewhere, then that's when it becomes an issue. So I don't know if that argument will hold, but I'm sure they'll get extremely technical and at the Supreme Court level, and it'll be quite interesting to read their deliberations.
And I'm actually curious about how this will affect Meta, since they live off of advertisements.
I think it's interesting because I'm not sure. Well, I don't think, first of all, that any anti-competitive ruling would be harmful towards Meta, but I think the other behemoth to look at is Amazon and their ad serving, which is now over $25 billion, which is greater than the sum of all of Google's moonshots put together. So their entire quote-unquote other category, which, just as an aside, it's pretty wild that you can have an entire other category that you don't even bother naming, but that has $25 billion in revenue.
Well, you know, Amazon keeps all the porn stash of politicians, so I think they're untouchable right now.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know how you personally know about that, but sounds good.
Yeah, you know, I have a direct line with Illuminati.
Shit, on another note, what's going on, Wall Street Bets? A lot of new people in the chat. Can I step in real quick, boys?
Yeah, keep it quick.
Yes, sir. I just want to give an update of my calls this morning. We got FWBI. We have ARDNS, GNS, INPX, SNOA, ATNF, BTB, and of course, the best one, GMBL, for all you Wall Street Bets heads. And then I'll throw in some options.
Bingo.
Tell us about your gains of
2150 call. And then I bought last night or yesterday before close. RIG, May 19th, $8 calls.
Hey,
And
you cut out on
I'm
that
sorry.
2150 call.
There you go. So it's
Who was that on?
PARA, and that's a February 10th, and that's a 2150. And then we got RIG, May 19th, and that's an $8 call. And I would definitely keep an eye on COSM. It looks like it's primed to run. So appreciate it, Wall Street Bets.
Excellent. Thank you for penny stock updates.
Hey, be careful with FWBI. I've been bag holding for a while, dude. I heard about them last year. They've done 2 reverse splits or in the last year or something like that. So it's yeah, be careful with that. It's bad news.
So I'm saying, like, when it comes to reverse splits, you don't want to kind of be in the play whenever they're about to split, right? I prefer to be outside and get in after it's said and done. But again, I give nothing about these companies. I'm just trying to get the bag and get in and out.
And I'm just trying to give everybody a heads up. Like, just be careful with that one. So
be careful with all these companies. They don't give a shit about any of us.
Yeah, that's good. True.
Yeah, Stay Fly is old school, man. He just trades the price action. I respect that. So yeah, just play the price action because those are very volatile tickers.
Again, we just got to get money. We're here to get paid. We're not here to fall in love with these companies.
Yeah, FWBI is up 36.8% pre-market. So,
and again, let me just reiterate: I trade from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and I typically give my calls late at night, like 8 o'clock at night, the night before. So I would like to jump in at 8:30. I have a small suggestion. Why don't we start this up at 7 a.m. so we can get in there early? Shit, I'm up at 6, so I can give calls at 7 a.m. if y'all want to hear some bullshit.
Hell no.
Yeah, no, I'd rather never mind. Yeah, so thank you for that information nonetheless. We do appreciate it.
If you want to put your calls out at 7 a.m., you could if you want to put your calls out at 7 a.m., you could join Chicken Stonks for the Soul. They're up at 7.
And you can also post.
You can also post to the daily thread.
Cool. Would anybody mind sending me that daily thread? That way I can hit y'all at 7 a.m.
Hell no.
I mean, you can just check the new under Wall Street Bets.
There you go. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Oh, so we were talking about Playboy yesterday, and I went to a Pens game last night. There was a guy in front of me wearing a Playboy jacket that said the Playboy Love Club. I have no idea what that means, but very interesting. We were talking about it yesterday, and then saw the Playboy logo and everything last night.
Did you ask him about it? Get some DD about it?
I did not, but I wanted to, but I didn't want to come off as a drunken buffoon, so I just kind of refrained. Are you underwater? I didn't really hear that.
All right, I think we need to start selling free Scald shirts because, like, he's clearly been kidnapped.
In all fairness, it's very snowy in Ohio today, so maybe he's in a drift somewhere, frozen.
Hey, Open, you want to play Let It Snow in the background instead?
Yeah, he said they're getting some ice storms up in Ohio today.
Yeah, it's a snow day and everything for most of the kids.
Yeah, I'm in Indianapolis.
Level 2 emergencies. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just grand. Yeah, Indianapolis is getting hammered. Already got about 3 inches in the ground, probably.
That's correct. I'm not driving anywhere due to the ice storm, so it's one of those things where I could hear the rain falling, but there was snow on the ground, so you know that's a bad combo.
Yeah, and just for the record, we had snow 2 days in a row over here in Japan, so you can thank lovely Asia for sending that over to you guys.
To bring it back to plays, we've got Loose, who has also very graciously agreed to do a Bag Holders Anonymous this weekend.
Thank you.
Let's throw the Doge for that. Thank you,
It's
Luce.
fake news. opinion is going to be the one doing the bag holders by himself.
Well, you're free to come on as a guest to talk about your losses.
Hey guys, good morning. I'm just trying to figure out what are your thoughts on Carvana? I know they're like 58% being shorted. I'm trying to make a play. I don't know if I'm gonna go if I'm gonna do a call or a put.
Flip a coin.
Flip a coin.
I don't know how much meat's left on those bones, buddy. I mean, it's heavily shorted now. We talked about it a couple months ago, and it was pretty hot then. But
I mean, it's still being shorted. It's still 58% of the float.
yeah, but because of that, sometimes it has these days where it's up 10, 15, 20% on a day, which would, you know, if you have bad timing on your puts, could wipe you out.
All right. All right. Put it is. Thank you.
I just want to shout out journalist. He did say that Lulu would go down and Ryanair would go up. His predictions were right. So shout out to journalist, the hateful Redditor.
Well, you can always be right once in a while. It's always good to be right.
So this isn't my play, but I do like it. I'm starting to look into this company called Toast. Ticker is TOST. I'm just looking at these guys. I think they have way to go down.
Is this the restaurant company?
Yeah, that's right. They provision payment solutions for restaurants. Right now, they're sitting at $11 billion market cap. They don't have a PE ratio because they don't make any money. And I just think that it's got a way down to go. It's only 60% down, and most of these other highly speculative tech stocks are down 90. So I'm looking at buying puts, but man, there's not a lot of liquidity on this options chain. So at open, I'm going to see if I can get in on some puts longer dated on these guys.
I have heard they have a phenomenal product, but yeah, doesn't mean they're a good stock to own. I believe they were a SPAC, were they not? Or I might be off on that.
I think based on what I'm looking at and based on the incredible amount of insider selling occurring, probably a SPAC, yeah.
Nah, they just IPO'd normally. They IPO'd at like $60 a share or something like that.
That's insane. Who underwrote that? These people are idiots. Anyway, what do you think, Luce? Think this is a good target for puts? Going bearish?
Toast has been on my short watch list for a long time. I never shorted them mainly because of the business. I think they have pretty good traction with the business, but if I were to put it in terms of like number of tailwinds versus headwinds, I would say they have like a big tailwind with business, with like the growth of their business and how like sticky they are, and how they spread. But that's like one tailwind, but they have like two headwinds, and one headwind would be the trade down effect, which is when consumers start spending less money on cheaper products. So like a lot of the restaurants that use Toast tend to be like mid-range or higher end, versus the increased volume that'll go to cheaper restaurants, fast food, stuff like that. And then of course you just have overall like the valuation is pretty bad. And I think the estimates are saying they're estimated to make $4 million in free cash flow next year. So they'll actually be cash flow from operations positive. So that's nice. But if that growth like comes down a bit, which it probably will, then that could prevent them from being cash flow positive. So yeah, it wouldn't be at the top of the list for companies to short for me. Especially when you look at, you mentioned like they have terrible liquidity. So it kind of gets scratched off the list for any anything for me.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Hendrix, you got anything to add on to that with your Anthony Bourdain picture?
Sorry, I was literally peeling carrots. I've never heard of toasted software. I know silverware as being the largest, most widely used point of sale for restaurants. Like, I'm assuming their software is the whole table layout on an iPad sort of deal, where you can pick your table, place your order through the kitchen, it prints the bill and all that stuff. If they're new, they've got legacy companies like silverware to deal with, because everybody in the industry knows it. We get trained on it when we're new to the industry and end up installing it because it's what we know when we get our own restaurants. That's all. I can't speak to how good it is because I've never used it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Can I go peel carrots?
Go and peel your carrots.
I'm curious if anyone's done any TA on gold with all the geopolitics going on with the oil and all that shit.
Central banks are buying gold.
Is anybody making any plays off of that Hindenburg report that dropped last night?
We already discussed this. There are no
Yeah.
plays on the
There's
US
not a
market.
ton. Yeah, there's not a lot.
My
of
bad.
opportunities.
I'm on and off
I
here because I'm
posted
at work.
a few India ETFs on the chat comment section and check them out. They have some exposure to Adani and many exposure to the Indian economy in general.
Yeah.
Just to add on to that, yeah.
Did Desmond already talk about the world collapsing, SPY going to 300 yet?
No, I was talking about the Adani one thing. Adani's main stock is Adani Enterprise. So if that stock is currently in head and shoulders formation, so right shoulder should be constructed before you should start shorting. At least around, it is going to just touch the baseline and then reshoot for the right shoulder. So you don't have you don't have much advantage of gaining profit. Like the profit advantage, the risk reward isn't there right yet. But when it overshoot to the right shoulder, after that you should start shorting. So your profit will be risk reward will grow.
So I have a play, guys.
Go for it.
This is a bearish play on medical. I know, Luce, you're gonna bash me on this, but ISRG is the Intuitive Surgical. They sell surgical devices for elective surgery. As much as I want to be bullish about elective surgery coming back in style, it is not. Healthcare sector is absolutely bankrupt. They're just not saying it right now. Everybody's borrowing a fuck ton of money just to keep their nurses on board, and everybody's still going on strikes because agency staff is getting paid sometimes double of what tenured nurses is getting paid, and that is not a good look, and it's terrible. It's terrible for many reasons, including medical errors and other things. So what is the hospitals going to do? They're going to cut down on new surgical devices because
Okay,
right now they
all
don't
right.
survive.
Did you
Bro,
say okay? Hang on,
that's a
all right,
bullish
yes,
for
I am
Intuitive
going to
Surgical.
bash you. Yes, but I wasn't going to bash you because of the stock, but because I think the valuation is a little high for ISRG. That's the ticker, by the way. Healthcare sector is going bankrupt. What? But anyways, past that. So that's my response to that. But also, surgical procedures, elective surgery, that's what's prioritized because that's what makes hospitals the most amount of money. So, for example, back when COVID was like going crazy and they had limited capacity for patients because of all the patients they were getting, essentially every state government, every local government was fighting with hospitals because hospitals were like, we don't want to open up all the capacity to patients for COVID because we need to keep room for surgical procedures, particularly elective surgery. And that was like unethical or whatever. But the reason they were doing it was because of all the money that they make. And they say, if you fill our hospitals with COVID patients, we are going to have very thin margins, and like we're going to be operating at losses. So they essentially made a deal with basically every local government, and they were like, there's a point of like efficiency for us, so let us have a certain amount of capacity for elective surgery. So that's like the last thing that's going to go for a hospital.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm trying to say is that they're not going to purchase more equipment. Like that's the point I'm trying to drive, is they're not purchasing new equipment
Nah,
for
I would,
elective surgeries.
bro. This is, I don't know. I think I don't always agree with Luce, but this is not one thing that's going to go away. Yeah, they may not buy more equipment, but healthcare automation and things that make the hospitals more money and are more profitable, that's where they're going to invest. And I mean, Intuitive Surgical is the leader in that space, but there's a lot more competition. I've been actually looking at an entry point into Intuitive Surgical for a long time because the valuation is, I mean, they are the original razor and blade model in healthcare surgical automation. I mean, they're like the creme de la creme, which is why they have such a high valuation. There are other opportunities that are eating at their market, which is ultimately why I think it's down as much as it is. But yeah, be very careful on this one. This one's an incredibly strong company and has been for like the last decade.
Yeah, automated surgery is definitely going to be the way of the future because the recovery time's a lot faster. And what hospital do you want to go to? One that's going to get you in and out in a couple of days, or one that has to crack your ribs and you're going to be out for weeks?
Yeah, and it shows up every day, right? You don't need the nurses. That's what everything you talked about with the struggles at healthcare points to, hey, this is why we need more Intuitive Surgicals.
So with Bloomberg as a source, you got 11 analysts that are saying revenue is going to increase 11% next year, 13.8% the year after. EBITDA is going to increase. 7 analysts say EBITDA is going to increase 38% and then 40% the following year. And then free cash flow, you got 6 analysts saying it's going to increase 27% next year and then another 30% the following year. So yeah, that's, Bloomberg people.
All right, that's fine. What I'm saying is that that's not going to be sustainable because they're not going to purchase new equipment anytime soon. They're probably going to put money. It's like the used car market.
If you're paying for Bloomberg, cancel that subscription right now. They're all wrong.
They are down 7% pre-market.
Nice.
Yeah, they just gave earnings, and I think they got cut a little bit.
All right, I'm willing to ban bet for this. By June, they're going to hit below 200.
That's my entry, dog. I'm hoping, I'm praying that they go to 200. I will be gobbling up shares at anywhere around 200.
That's representative bias. So if the market crashes and they go down, you're going to come back and say, see, I was right. We'll talk about that later, won't we, Elliot?
That's right. We'll be talking about that later, 9 a.m. Tokyo time if you're in Asia. Yes, we're worldwide. And we'll also be talking about that, I believe it's 6 p.m. EDT. Haven't been in America for a minute, so I'm not really sure what that means. But
7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Thank you. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about some topics that aren't about calls and puts and stocks and random penny stock pushers. So be sure to check out the comment in the comment section or check out the Wall Street Bets Discord. Sorry, I almost mentioned a different one, a little dirty one, but we won't talk about that one until later. Ladies and gentlemen, in all seriousness, if you're looking for some serious talk, check it out. Comment section. Link is in the comments.
One last is Eastern Daylight Time. That's when we're on Daylight Savings Time. EST is Eastern Standard Time when we're not on Daylight Savings Time.
This guy fucked.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anywho,
like
before I leave, there might be a quick bearish sentiment on Walmart coming up. They are raising their minimum wage for Walmart. So they'll have a bit more cost on the personnel. So that might hurt their earnings a bit, especially they're starting their new fiscal year.
All right, 2 degenerate plays I've been playing real quick. One is WISA, W-I-S-A. Terrible company, but not making as much profit, or not making any profit. But Goldman Sachs bought up about 9.8 million shares, I think. They filed that they own now of 71 million. And since that notification, which I had an ear into apparently that was going to happen. I bought my shares at 9.37. It's been as high yesterday as 20 cents. So I was in at 9 cents. I sold half. The rest are riding on their dime. It may level off a bit, but I see this as highly volatile. So 220 million shares traded yesterday out of 71 million possible. I think there's more room there. It may go down though before it goes up. Remember, this is to me, it's a pump and dump stock, but at the same time, I think with Goldman in it, they're in it for a reason. So I'm going to hold the other half on their dime until it happens. I see it going to 30 cents. So if you can get in at 14, I think you'll be okay to sell half and go there. Again, look and do your own research on that one on their financials. But also, NUWE has 500,000 shares. It's trading in the 780 range right now. It's already had a spike into the 12s. I see that one having another spike sometime soon. I think if you get in that one anywhere in the $7 range, you will see profits. Again, these companies are losing money. Do your financial search, do your DD. But from talking with folk and seeing things back and forth, I see them both as having potential to the upside. And of course, last night, I don't know if you guys talked about it, UVIX did their reverse split. It was at $3.80 yesterday. Now it's at $20.43. That is, VS Trust. It's the going off of the VIX pretty much an ETF. They're meant to go down. I don't buy shares into them, but I think with them doing that, they're priming, or we're all priming to have another drop here soon. So just keep an eye on the VIX, because when they raise UVIX and UVIXY with reverse splits, they're making it harder to buy shares, obviously, making it more expensive to buy shares. And then, we go on from there. So I just remind everybody that last night that happened. So if you see UVIX up 426%, it was because of the reverse split.
Another thing that's kind of speculation. You got Smith & Wesson. I do know like the firearm stocks and stuff usually.
Is it just me, or can anyone else hear him?
It's very, very quiet.
We can't hear you.
Quiet. It must be on the Verizon network.
I think it's my case. Hold on.
Marcus open, guys.
That was a bit better. Whoever
Keep
was
an eye on COSM, boys. It's going to be a beautiful day over there. I see it.
Mr. Quiet Man, what were you saying? A little louder.
Can you hear me
fell
now?
down a well. Oh, yes, we can.
All right. I don't know. Where's Mr. Quiet Man? You coming in? He said something about his holster or something.
I think he said Smith & Wesson.
There, can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah, it's good enough.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably my case or something, but that dude that brought up Smith & Wesson earlier made a good point, just to kind of keep them in your watch list with all the firearms news and all that's been in the news, and the ATF trying to rule on pistol braces. All those gun companies usually have a pretty big spike once that starts coming around. So I don't know if it'd be something worth keeping an eye on or not. Usually when there's a lot of gun news or some kind of ATF ruling in the news, everybody goes and panic buys a lot of different stuff. So it could be good for Smith & Wesson or Rieger or somebody.
I just gotta say, I've been winning easy money every Australian Open match you bet on Djokovic is a sure win.
Everyone is intently studying their portfolio right now. Their 3 stocks.
Some say studying. I say crying.
I mean, you can try to play the gun stocks. I did that in years past, but I think in the last 3 years, most everyone loaded up, if you will, literally on their armaments. So if you look at both the charts, both Smith & Wesson, and Ruger, in the last 6 months, they don't look good. and there's usually very little effect from. I know what you're talking about with the brace. There's a lot of talk there, but they just made it harder for a lot of people to buy. So I would not see it as an influx. And if it's there, it already would have been priced in the last 6 months.
Got a point there. I was just thinking every time usually they go to try to ban something, everyone goes and panic buys the fuck out of it.
The general trend in gun stocks is Democrats have all the power, gun stocks do well. Republicans have all the power, gun stocks don't do as well. The reason is because there's no fear of Republicans banning any guns or anything like that. So that fear of the ban is what drives it. So right now, it's kind of unlikely to happen.
Isn't there a lot of fear about bans though? Like I've heard a lot of talk about banning rifles and stuff.
Yeah, but you got Biden as moderate, and then look at Congress. You know, it's like mixed. So it's probably not going to happen.
And most of the stuff's happening at the state level. And I think the feds are happy with that right now. Let everyone do that. And there are some updates where people have to get rid of their firearms because of local rules, not federal ones. So there is some things happening, but it's not like you're saying. It really is who controls the federal government.
I was just checking this HDFC Bank, which is being traded in New York. It's down like quite a bit.
Does anybody checking out steel?
You're talking about US steel?
I mean, I just checked copper futures.
And tell us, what did you find, pray tell? Were they there? Were the futures still there in the future? I guess we'll never know.
Connection problems are opinion, but yeah, this is getting quite ridiculous. This Verizon network. I know the earnings are going up.
Hey, here's a question for you fine folks. Is anyone currently bullish on the markets? And have you been bullish?
I'm not as bearish as some.
The time frame is important here. By next year, yes. Today, no.
So the reason I ask, okay, so most people use curated news, right? Like aggregated news sources, Google News, Apple News, stuff like that, right? I'm seeing a shit ton of articles saying this analyst, this fund, this bank, this institution, this investor all think the markets are headed downward. All very, very bad. However, I know my news is curated to me. So maybe I clicked one too many bearish articles, right? So that's why I ask, is anyone bullish?
Yeah.
Or is anyone just not bearish? Are you seeing, in general, guesstimation, are you seeing as many bearish articles? Are you seeing bullish articles?
No. I mean, I think
The
most people are
consensus on
bearish.
the street.
But there's a Goldman analyst that actually I think is predicting. I listened to the Goldman call. What was it, like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, when they did their market analysis for the year, and they had the guy on there that actually, I mean, I don't know. There are some people that think that it not only is it priced in, but just that it's not going to be as bad as people think it's going to be.
So try liking those articles and saying, like, show me more of this, and then see if your news only shows you bullish articles.
Hey, actually, I got a question. I see where you're headed towards, Luce. Are you using Google, Microsoft, or whichever search engine? And which device do you use, Apple or Android?
I have an iPhone. I use Apple News, Google News, Axios, Bloomberg, Financial Times, Yahoo Finance, BBC News, MarketWatch, CNBC, and even StockTwits sometimes. And then within Apple News and Google News, I follow Morningstar. Let's see. Reuters. Reuters is a big one for me. Even South China Morning Post, which is surprisingly unbiased.
I think StockTwits is your best source of info.
Yeah, true. S&P Global, oilprice.com.
Do you fuck with Finimize?
Do I fuck with, huh?
Finimize?
Finimize? I don't know what that is.
Like an app, daily investment movement stuff. Shit to watch for.
I did tip ranks, and Seeking Alpha. A couple others.
Very nice. I refuse to use Motley Fool.
So TipRanks has paid pretty good for me. I've made pretty decent returns on some of those just free analyst calls.
I just want to say that my thumbs up there was to not using Motley Fool. I don't know anything about TipRanks.
TipRanks kind of compiles analyst opinions from all over the net, and it makes them accountable too. So each person has a profile. You can go and see how bad they've been in the past.
Is it free to use?
There's a free version and a paid version. The free version is totally adequate.
Yeah, you sign up for your email or whatever, agree to their marketing kind of stuff. But yeah.
What was the name of the company?
It's another I use it as kind of a ping source, kind of like okay, well this one says like Webull will say something. And
Exactly.
And I'll go look at it over here, and then I'll even go look at it. There's one for Motley Fool that I'll use. It's like I was trying to find the website real quick. It's like a scam site or scamdetector.com or something like that. That when they sit there and they say, "Hey, so and so, Bill Gates just bought $1 billion of this company," or just I'll go to that site and they'll actually break it down and tell you what the hell they're doing with their and how long they've been doing it. Or oh yeah, we saw this last year or some shit. It's pretty funny. So I'll try to see if I can find it.
I have the paid version for TipRanks just because it's with TD. You get it for free. But I don't really find any use for it because it's not up to date. Most things are a couple of months behind for their price targets.
I got a quick question. I followed a company for a while. It was a OTC, did a reverse split, came on NYSE. It is POET. It's called Poet Technologies. Basically, I'm smooth brain. What in the hell exactly is it that they create that is right now in beta testing that I've noticed has been gaining traction in the Reddit community? Before it wasn't talked about, but now I've seen it pop up a few times. It is like a intercomposer, some kind of semi chip. Like, can somebody explain this to me? It is a Canadian company, by the way, opinion.
Oh, well, now I'm interested. Actually, now I'm less interested. Canadian companies do terrible.
Yeah, Poet Technologies manufactures sells discrete integrated optoelectronic solutions.
Yeah, I don't know. For those who are not very familiar with the Canadian investing landscape, it's mostly like 50% weird, shady microcap, like mining companies. And then the rest are, I guess, okay.
He actually won the award last year for this design, though. I believe I have to dig it up. When I was really heavy in the DD, it actually Design of the Year award or something for this chip that can take. I'm trying to. When it reverse split, by the way, it did drop, but I've noticed now it actually is like starting to run back up again.
I've been watching QRTEA, Curate Retail. That's been doing quite well since it kind of bottomed out in December at 140. It's now up to 124. 124. They've got a lot of make a lot of cash flow, and they don't have a lot of market cap. The price might be. I think you must be buying some shares or something at $2.
Sorry, just looking through Canadian stock lists, and it's not looking very good.
Is Shopify still your largest market cap company in
Well,
Canada?
if it is, I'd be very sad given how much it's fallen.
Dude, that's unfortunate.
I think it's RBC.
Thank you.
Hi guys, how's it all going? Just one question. Someone was talking about Curate. Isn't Curate on Barry's portfolio?
Yeah, he's bought it a couple times. I don't know the history of his how often he's bought that in the past, but they seem to have a lot of they generate a lot of cash.
What was it again? Was it the
QRTEA?
I was taking a look at the 13F filings, and I can't remember what it is, but I'm at work right now.
Home shopping network. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, they have a real strong customer base. Like a huge chunk of their customers are extremely loyal. About a 90%. I'm trying to remember that term. You know, they hold on to their customers 90%.
Retention rate.
Yeah, exactly, and that's very consistent. And I kind of look at them as a very unique marketing channel that really there isn't a competitor that provides retail services like this.
I'm looking at the numbers here. The earnings per share are negative, and the return on equity and the net profit margin are both negative. I mean, they do have revenue, and they had a 32% gross profit margin. I get that. But when your return on equity is negative 137%, I would not put my money there personally. Just
What blows my mind is like in 2008, they were making $13 per share in revenue, and their price was it got as low as $1.67. So now in 2023, their price is $2 and they make $31 a share.
Yeah,
The business model hasn't really changed a lot. Like, I mean, it's the same strategy.
looks like that's their gross profit margin, the 31%. But I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. I don't like shopping network. I wouldn't invest my money there.
I look at it as an effective a way of reaching customers, something that's been time tested, like it's been around forever, and they're kind of experts in the world of e-commerce in a way, in the sense that they have something like a 65 billion viewable minutes of content that they make. Like that's how many people have viewed their content around the world each year. They make it's like they have a streaming service in a way where everyone pays $1,000 a year to belong there, because their top customers they spend about $1,400 US each on average, their top customers. And 90% of their customers are retained, and their cost of content production is way lower than any other streaming service, and it's a way of them reaching their customers. So their customers like this interaction they get with these people on TV, to the point where that's why they're effective, is because they're able to make that personal touch with the viewer.
So here's some numbers for you guys. So the ticker, by the way, for those asking, is QRTEA. It's Curate Retail. So 90% retention rate is great, but their revenue is expected to decline 13% for 2022. And it's expected to decline further, another 6% next year. So the issue that they're having is They made $2 billion in EBITDA last 2021. It's going to drop down to 1.2 billion EBITDA for this recent year, and it'll stay around there. So their margins are compressing. They're losing sales despite that high retention rate. So that's a bit odd. Free cash flow is going down, but they have really high leverage. So their leverage is something like 7 times debt to EBITDA. So it's basically a bond in the e-commerce space, which is highly competitive, and their sales are going down, the margins are going down. And Michael Burry, some numbers there. He first bought, let's see, in the third quarter of last year, looks like. Estimated price paid was $2.01. It's currently at $2.21, so he's up about 10%. And that was sourced as of September 30th. So that's the last known report of Burry's position. So for all we know, he could have already gotten out.
They've had some, I guess, strange situations happen to them. They had a warehouse fire last year. Mainly their return warehouse burnt down. So, and they were struggling with an inventory problem. Now, I think having the warehouse burned down and getting the insurance collection from it may help them get things kind of right. Like, I guess I'm thinking that, it's not their only warehouse. It is one of their warehouses, but if the stock has reacted to that already, and I don't think things will get worse for them than having a warehouse burn down and then come down. Basically their revenues have dropped over the last couple years because of that, of the boom with COVID.
Well, even with COVID, yeah, they only got a 5% increase in sales through COVID. So their sales were already declining before COVID. And just your e-commerce and your sales only increased 5% through COVID? Like, that's how did it not increase at least twice that much,
Okay, just a quick note. AT&T just broke $20.
Yeah,
Would they
so
get it 10?
6.2%.
Would they get it 10 of 5 and 5 ones?
I was gonna give you the little drum sound, but I don't think so.
Time.
I'm gonna ask again. Is anybody following steel outlooks and production?
Loosely, yes. Do you have comments or a question?
Yeah, because I'm not following it exactly, but I heard it's gonna go down, but it's already down. I don't know any information about it.
I haven't been following steel, but I've been just loosely looking at copper prices, but it's more so if China whether or not opens up is all I've seen.
It's very mixed for a lot of commodities, really, not just steel. So you'll see headlines saying we're looking at a steel shortage or platinum shortage, palladium shortage, right? Copper shortage, all this stuff. Everything's going into shortage. But at the same time, you have a lot of data coming out that's saying demand is slowing, consumption is slowing, orders, transportation, all like so many indicators are pointing down and imply that we're going to have some demand destruction throughout this year. So it's very mixed. I lean bearish simply because of where prices are, but including, all those factors, because steel, copper, a lot of those stocks have had like a ridiculous run up over the past, like 2 months. And take copper, Freeport, McMoran, for example, a ticker FCX, they released earnings for third quarter. They did okay with revenue and earnings for the quarter, but they issued guidance that was lower, and the stock has since gone from 30 to 44. A little ridiculous. I was holding it, and I was like, well, I'm going to get out now because that doesn't make any sense to me. So guidance, I think, is being lowered. So all I'm seeing about like the bull case for commodities and steel as well is there's supposed to be a shortage. Like, but I'm just seeing that sentiment, right, rather than the data. But the data is like, no, everything's slowing down. So I'm slightly bearish on steel and a lot of related commodities.
Yeah,
When
a
you
lot of
also
people use
go ahead, Pat.
lumber as a leading indicator, and lumber is just kind of bottoming out and turning around. It's up 23% year to date.
Also,
Yeah,
if
even-
you're in any
I
form of
appreciate it. Thank you.
if you're in any form of recession camp, you can't be bullish on steel. Like those two just don't mix, right?
And I was going to add also, if you believe that inflation is falling off, everything in the commodities market, you would have to be bearish on as well.
If you need to hear it from an institution, I would recommend FactSet is always like my top recommendation. I think FactSet is like brilliant, and they've been on point for the past like 2 years. But also, and I think you can sign up for free for newsletters, stuff like that. A podcast that I like is Thoughts on the Market from Morgan Stanley, and the episodes are typically like 4 or 5 minutes long. So I would highly recommend those two sources: FactSet and the Thoughts on the Market podcast by Morgan Stanley.
Sorry, how do you spell the first one?
FactSet, like Trump only tells facts, and then SET FactSet, and then Thoughts on the Market. Not like thoughts like the girls you hang out with on the weekend, but like thoughts, the things that people here tend to not have. Just kidding, I love you guys. No, I don't. I don't love you. Fuck that. But yeah, that's by Morgan Stanley. It's a podcast.
Luce, they have thoughts. They just don't have intelligent thoughts. Or maybe that's me too.
No, I'm pretty sure I haven't had a thought in a while.
Actually, I'm confident Luce's idea of thoughts on a
I don't
market
know
would
what's
be popular.
Just a question on FactSet. It's also a public company. Is that the same one?
Yes.
The play on Playboy mini have some thoughts yesterday.
I'm still waiting for OnlyFans to go public and make their ticker, Thought, THOT. I expect compensation for that idea. OnlyFans, I know you're listening.
Paid in champagne, right?
I'm waiting for the Incels for Intel program where OnlyFans teams up with Intel and you can give Intel stock to creators as payment. So let's hope that happens.
Shout out to Sleepy Nate. I don't know if he's in here, but my 393 puts just paid 100%, and now the rest is riding on their dough. So
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir, for that number.
Well, my Atlassian February 17 puts are trending right now.
I did wait for the bounce at open. I bought them when they were right at about 396.30. So I bought them on almost the top of the upswing. So that's why I got the 100%. But I think there's a lot more in there today.
So I actually financed mine with a 4.347 call spread a couple days ago. So it's free money for me. I'm gonna let it ride.
Yeah, mine too now. But the last 2 times I did it, I'm not lying. Last 2 times I had 100% let it ride. I ended up with 0 at the end of the day. But I'm hoping third time's the charm this week. That was Friday and yesterday.
Yeah, I'm the trigger for me. I'm watching for a bull divergence on the MACD and RSI.
Let's shout out when you see that.
Hey, Sleepy, are you still I know my IVR scanner's been pretty light. Are you still, doing the big old tasty trade style? And if so,
Yep.
have you shortened your time frame for IVR for looking for high IV companies? They usually use like what, a daily across a year, right? So have you
Right.
shortened that?
I'm still using the exact same thing. Like I don't want to change any of my long-term ones. I'm just accepting slightly lower IV rank, and I've changed my premium expectations for, like, usually I want to get a third of the width of a strike. Now if I get anywhere from like 25 to 30%, that's probably fine too. Like, I took a little lower fill than I normally would on Microsoft, but I also didn't, I don't want to have capital sitting around unused. And, considering that I'm looking to make, 15% on 15% on capital invested over the course of approximately 21 days for those plays. Minus the losers, of course. I'm willing to just accept a little bit less than I normally would, trusting that IV is going to go back up. I've done a couple where I've made my strikes a little tighter to kind of pump up the premium. I'm considering doing that on actually IBM today, but IBM is a ticker that I've played a lot and kind of trust a little bit, which is always folly as well. But yeah, I'm just adapting my premium expectations right now. Still playing it pretty similar.
Did anyone look into the Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, and that's the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, which had those massive trading glitches yesterday because SEC is doing an investigation.
Oh, is that what those spikes were early in the morning?
Yeah, there was an issue with setting the open pricing. When the market's open, there was an issue with setting like the actual open prices. So, it was basically the prices that I guess were shown. It was equivalent to when there's an actual trading halt and you see, okay, there's a crazy ask and there's a crazy bid, right? So it was an equivalence to that. So that's why you saw like Walmart, trading with like a 25% wide like bid to ask, which is kind of retarded how that happens. But yeah, it was ICE. They're the ones that own the nice New York Stock Exchange. So SEC is doing investigations. I'm curious how that's going to turn out.
Maybe it's just a public stunt. Like ICE is pretty big. Like it won't matter anything.
Oh, and also, if anyone says that they took advantage of that volatility, they're probably bullshitting because the New York Stock Exchange said that they are quote unquote busting all those orders, which means they're canceling any orders that were transacted during that period.
Well, they're only going to bust some of them. They're not busting all of them. They had 3 announcements yesterday. Some are outside of those bans. Some are within. So they're not completely busting them.
Well, I guess I don't feel as bad not able to sell my AT&T shares for $120.
Yeah, don't feel bad.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm like, wow, AT&T was 120 and change.
Yeah, there's immediately scare of, oh no, remember the flash crash like the 80s? And I mean, it started to look similar, but obviously we have those trading halts in place these days. So yeah, it's a little crazy. I mean, not that I was alive then, but
well, same thing in 2011, where that literally was a fat finger that did cause the markets to drop 500+%, or not percent, but 500 points.
Wasn't Wasn't there like a trader in England that did that?
Correct.
Yeah, I thought that was him.
Like a
Yeah.
documentary or something. On
Yeah, it was like a JP Morgan guy, and they literally, I think they put like an additional zero. So instead of like 100,000 contracts, bought like 1 million. And I may be off on my math there, but it was literally like one extra zero, and it broke.
No, there was also another
I think it
one.
was
Some guy was
Navinder Singh
saying,
Saral,
like,
wasn't it? Yeah, the high frequency trader guy, Navinder
Yeah,
Singh
that's
Saral.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Tons of-
did like he basically did that himself. He affected that flash crash. It wasn't for him. I don't know if there was another fat finger trade that caused the market to go down that much, but it was the same time frame. So yeah, that guy Navinder, he's basically was like, I know how the algos trade, and I'm going to trade against them, and I'm going to cause them to lose a lot of money.
that is a legend, man. Legend.
Yeah, it's actually, I think somebody mentioned there's a documentary. I think on Bloomberg's YouTube channel. Forget what their little series is called. But it's pretty good. It's a good watch, and essentially, like my interpretation of it is basically institutions can manipulate the hell out of prices because they do it all the time with with algorithms, stuff like that. Not like crazy, not like freaking Lex Luthor level every day, right? But this guy does it, and he takes advantage of those algorithms, exposes weakness, and he's the one that goes to jail.
He was creating fake orders, right?
Yeah, he was basically like pump faking the algos, but algorithmic trading, like that's kind of what the game is for the big institutions. Like they do that all the time to each other. Like the big algo funds
Order
do
spoofing.
compete with each other. Yeah. So it happens all the time. It's just not supposed to, affect the markets that much.
Well, that's why they have bats.
He was literally in his mom's basement.
Second floor bedroom. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Not that I know him.
Except that didn't have a lock on it, so when he needed to do private stuff, he went to the basement.
Inface keeps on dropping. They suddenly just lowered their price target by $100.
Enphase, that's for me, that's a good example of a stock that I just felt was too damn overvalued, but it's very hard to short. Like I think I was looking at it back in August, and maybe if I timed it well, I could have made money on that initial drop. But if you kind of ignore the interim dip from, I mean, it took like 6 months for it to really move down, and that's the issue I have with shorting stocks strictly based on valuation. Is you don't know when the markets are going to say, all right, it's time for your valuation to come down.
Yeah, I remember it went up like $100 in the summertime. Then it started dipping back in December, then it psyched you out and then started ripping again. And then dipped in the new year.
Speaking of shorting stocks, my short side of my portfolio is doing very nice today. All the stocks that ran up like crazy: Affirm, DoorDash, Coinbase, Carvana's coming down, DraftKings, Roblox coming down. I'm just shorting Roblox for the inevitable repeat of the pedophiles on the platform news headline.
I mean, we do have Republican running the House, so that won't be a surprise.
I thought you were going to make a joke and say we do have Republicans using the platform.
Oh.
Ape is green, so clearly healthy market.
a news story I saw yesterday about South Korea saying they're going to make their basically they're trying to improve the liquidity of their stocks and make it easier for foreign investors to invest. Typically, that's like over the long term, it's very bullish because frankly, increased liquidity for any market in general, market prices will go up. So I think there's some good South Korean stocks like Coupang, CPNG is a big e-commerce company in South Korea, but they also have customers in China, Japan, the general area, Southeastern Asian area, and that's one that Stanley Druckenmiller has been in. Stanley Druckenmiller, for those who don't know, is like one of the big OG hedge fund investors. I think he's been in the business for over 30 years, almost 40 years, and he's made like some really big calls, like the .com bubble, stuff like that. But yeah, that's
No,
his
but
biggest position.
he's retired now, right?
Stanley Druckenmiller? No, I think he's still doing his thing. He's still, yeah, they still report the Duquesne family office. DUQUESNE, I believe. Yeah, Duquesne family office. So yeah, just in general, I'm over the long term, I'm bullish South Korean stocks, and that seems to be a trend emerging in Southeastern Asia, Eastern Asia, and Japan. There's kind of like hints of that. Also, the guys at Morgan Stanley in that podcast, Thoughts on the Market, they're kind of saying the same thing, and a few other institutions, financial advisors, have been kind of making that prediction for several months now. I said it like a year ago with Nintendo, and it was like pure speculation. But suddenly, it's like, oh yeah, a lot of people agree that Eastern Asia, the markets are trying to bring in more foreign investors, which is very good for their stock prices.
Yeah, but
Yes.
well, I was just thinking that it's gonna flatline like Japan.
Isn't Jack Ma found in South Korea?
Jack Ma nuts.
Is that guy still with the Alibaba, or is like kicked out?
No, he left Alibaba. I thought he was in Ukraine looking at farmland because that was all over like WeChat and shit.
I don't know. I was just because I know he was in Japan, and then I saw a spotting in South Korea. He's nothing.
Yeah, South Korea is trying to Japanify, I guess. There's a lot of old people there. So Coupang could be an interesting play. I was very bullish back in 2021, and then everybody lost their pants on Asian stocks.
Yeah, I think like typically I don't just follow the big hedge fund guys. Stanley Druckenmiller and Seth Klarman are like if both of them are buying a stock, I'm just buying the stock basically. Those guys are, I mean, they're they're the goats. So if Stanley Druckenmiller when he put Coupang in his portfolio, it was a while back, and he's been buying since it was, I want to say like in the 50s, like 40s to 50s range, and he's essentially tripled down, and he's made it his biggest position. And he's held on to that position. So when I see that, it's the biggest position. The stock price has dropped a lot, and not only have they added, but they've doubled down, they've tripled down, and they're still holding over the long term. I'm like, there's no way these guys are going to sell this stock unless something really bad happens with the company, right? Obviously, the thesis changed, but to me, that's like a ton of confidence, conviction shown from those guys. So I feel comfortable like being in that stock for the long term.
And what's the name of the company?
Coupang, ticker CPNG, South Korean e-commerce company.
Have they just been recently listed? It just only says like 1 year or 2 years.
Yeah, I believe it was 2000 March 2021 is when they IPO'd.
Oh, that means like Druckenmiller probably bought like $8 or some shit.
No, they IPO'd around $42, I believe.
No, but the institutionals could buy before the IPO.
Yeah, they probably have like pipe investing too.
So if you look at like if you go to wellwisdom.com, it'll show you like an estimated average price paid based on the SEC filings. So that would probably be included there. It'd be included in their average. But on top of that, like let's say he did get a damn good price before he IPO'd, he kept buying as it was in the 40s and then it dropped below 30. So, you know, it would be nice if he got that really low price, but he didn't just get it. If that's the case, he didn't just get it and sit on it. He kept buying as the price was much higher. So I guess the conviction part would still hold true there.
I mean, it's a $27 billion market cap, though.
Sure. Have you heard? Wait till you hear about these mega caps, how big they are.
Well, they have lots of moolah. We don't have a lot of moolah.
Yes? I'm confused.
Korea is an interesting place. Yeah, like due to the language, like China hasn't taken it over, and also for Google, like Naver is still surviving this thing.
I think this means we should go long the Middle East because they have a lot of mullahs.
If I would long on something, maybe Singapore.
What about India? Get a little dip because of the Adani crap. Got a dip in the broader ETFs in India.
Someone posted some earlier. We had that discussion with Desmond, really highlighting that the Nifty 50 is interesting to me. Adani's it's less than 2%. Nothing's more than 2% in that, but could be a time to get in. Biggest country in the world now by population.
I mean, it would be really bad if Adani was like actually, seriously fraudulent, because that just,
Adani
it's
gets
one of the
liquidated,
massive companies.
Indian
What?
entire economy will plunge. It gets liquidated in this coming recession, then India's economy will plunge.
Yeah.
Wait,
So that would be
say again before the liquidation before.
When is SPY collapsing, boys?
So something else to consider with India, much in the same way that the Chinese population tends to put their money into real estate, the population in India tends to put their money towards gold. So that's also something to consider if you're looking at that market.
So gold hoarding?
RBI has been recently buying a lot of gold.
It's just that's when the population has like free cash, they tend to try to store that value within physical gold. It's apparently incredibly popular in India.
The population of India does not buy the real gold. RBI is the one which buys those gold bars. Indians basically buy a lot of jewelry. So they're saying that the correlation is not that high, but yeah.
another market that people I think it's fair to say really don't care about. But institutions are pretty damn bullish over the long term. Would be Mexico, and there's a lot of investment going into Mexico, particularly over the past year and a half, 2 years. A lot of private equity investment, and nobody cares about Mexico's markets. But there's definitely like money to be made there. It'll probably take a while before markets start to care and say like, okay, those stocks should be reasonably priced. But it's an interesting market for sure that markets might care about at some point.
So I have a question about Mexico. A lot of companies are doing their manufacturing down there now. Does anybody know, like, is it the actual companies that are doing the manufacturing, or are they going to be subcontracting to publicly traded Mexican companies on the Mexican stock market that they're plays behind?
I'm sure it's going to be mixed. So like the logistics down there really has to be built up. So like that, in addition to manufacturing, like it'll probably change over time. But like as it stands right now, Mexico just doesn't have the ability. Mostly, I bring up logistics because if you have all the manufacturing right, but you don't have the logistics, it's kind of shit. So they got to build up logistics and transportation, stuff like that, because they just don't have what, say, China has, for example. And then once they do that, then there could be much more heavier investment in manufacturing. At that point, it'll probably be a lot of actual like investment. So at least partial ownership of those manufacturing companies, as it tends to be for most U.S.-based companies that have manufacturing around the world.
What about Vietnam?
Ooh, what about Vietnam?
Well, a lot of I have connections in China for the factory side. There's a lot of movement into Vietnam to actually open up new factories because the labor costs are significantly cheaper, so they have much better margins there. And then not just Vietnam, but like Laos, the Laotians, and then like some of the Southeast Asian countries.
Set there in Vietnam.
I mean, when Foxconn shut down in China with Apple, that's where they temporarily put it. And you also have heard that Apple is going to move some of their assembly, I don't think it's production, but the assembly there. So I agree that it could be bullish for them. Just if people are diversifying, they can't repatriate all of the assembly or manufacturing here or in Mexico, if you're talking about the States. So I could see that as a tailwind for Vietnam, but I've never invested specifically to it, so I can't speak to that.
So, Luce, since you're so bullish on Coupang, how do you feel about C, the Singapore company?
C, like C Limited?
Yeah, C Limited.
I haven't looked into them in a while. Last time I looked at them, they were terribly overvalued, but that was a long time ago. I don't know. How's the business going?
Well, I got out of them a long time ago when it's up like $300. So I haven't looked into it recently.
I see that they're still not profitable.
I don't think they ever was.
They were during COVID. They were making positive free cash flow. But estimates the past 2021, this year, they're just expected to have negative free cash flow. Maybe they'll have positive cash from operations like this year, which is a step in the right direction. But yeah, whenever I see companies that are this big and they still haven't figured out how to maintain like consistent profitability from a cash from operations standpoint, I tend to just stay away. Like I don't care what the growth is. It's like you're big enough. You make, what do these guys make? 12.2 billion in revenue over the last 12 months. Like they should have figured it out by now.
Okay, makes sense.
Essentially for me, like all companies are comparable, you know? So like if I have this SaaS stock that's trading at a reasonable value, highly profitable, and I compare it to say like Amazon, and Amazon's their operating margins are close to zero now. Like why would I buy Amazon, you know, if that other company's like decent and trading at a pretty good valuation? You're paying for profits, you know, the expectation of profits. So the expectation of profits aren't there in the near term, you know, over the next like 1 to 2 years, then you're speculating on a far longer time period, which nobody can forecast at all. You know, you can't predict the future.
Well, are you going long or what's the duration?
Duration for stocks in general, for me?
Yeah, for your place.
For most of my plays, I mean, it's anywhere from like a couple months to like 2 years. I try to cap it at 2 years, but here and there I will pick a stock like Stellantis where I'm comfortable holding for a very long period of time. But most of the time, it's like I want 2 years max. Because, and the reasoning behind that is, just like I mentioned, if you're making a play based on many years out, there are so many factors that come into play, and people do their DCF models and they do their forecasting and all that stuff, and nobody stops to think like how accurate forecasts have been in the past, you know, like how accurate DCF models have been in the past. So the answer is they're terribly inaccurate, you know. So to me, it's like the further out you go, the more wrong you're going to be. So 2 years is, I mean, frankly, that's a long time too, to predict like what the markets are going to do in 2 years. Like who the hell knows that? Nobody knew COVID was coming, right? And then nobody knew massive stimulus was going to be injected into the markets, you know? So frankly, like even 2 years is a long time for me. But yeah, that's where I try to keep the time frame like somewhat limited. And usually for like stocks that I'm like researching, that I'm just investing in, just like buying shares, it's going to be at least 6 months. And I am looking for a specific catalyst.
This is kind of random, but has anybody looked at the stock SWVL? It's like a Dubai company. It says they just approved a reverse split.
Say again.
SWVL is the ticker. It's a company in Dubai, and it says they just approved a reverse stock split like 2 hours ago.
Is this like the 0.15 cents?
Yeah. Two news articles that popped up showing something. First stock split approval or something. I don't know.
Looks ugly.
I'm not sure. I'm just gonna keep it on my watch list and see what the hell. I'm definitely good.
Hey, General Dynamics did pretty badly today. And apparently they had a better than expected earning.
Hey guys, speaking of General Dynamics, I know you guys were talking about the Abrams tanks. General Dynamics doesn't make the tanks, but they make parts for, or they make the ammunition for the tanks.
Well, since we did talk about that yesterday and you brought it up, Germany did approve sending 14 Leopard 2 tanks. And Russia's all mad about that. I don't know how much that has to do with the markets, but we did talk about that yesterday. How they weren't going to send them.
Yeah, I have a family member that works at General Dynamics. So I called up yesterday after work and had like a just 5-minute chat. That was all. So just something interesting since we talked about it yesterday. That's all. And what are we thinking for Tesla earnings today after the bell?
Flip a coin, I guess.
It got downgraded by some bank. So just like Google, I am downgraded Microsoft, so rally up and then down.
I mean, Tesla's just going to be all about their forward guidance, right?
Guidance matters.
Oh. Do they make a lot of money on services?
Stock was rallying due to China reopening play. So a lot of when Tesla cut the prices of when they cut the prices of Tesla cars over in China, so people were saying that there's a lot of demand coming in, and said that could rally stock for some time. But we really don't know like how strong
Desmond, you're breaking up.
there is in China.
Yeah, we didn't catch half of
Saying
that.
The Tesla was rallying because due to the fact that Tesla were cutting the prices of their cars, so that would increase the demand, and the China reopening play also play into that, and so that's why the stock was rallying. But we really don't know like how strong the demand over there is in China. And as for USA, I don't think anyone will be buying Tesla, even if it's like at a discount, because the recession is already coming. Everyone knows it, so everyone will be preparing and holding the cash instead of buying Tesla.
Are you talking about Tesla cars or stock?
Tesla makes
Cars. Talk about the
money.
cars.
Oh, you're talking about the cars. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's the way I see it. And I'm not a Tesla. I'm not a permanent Tesla bull, Tesla bear, none of that. But I will say I think the price cut was prudent. I think that was a wise decision to make. And yeah, the margins are going to go down, or, whatever. But if you're bullish on the EV sector in general, if you're thinking like over the long term, people are going to buy more electric vehicles. The world's largest EV manufacturer just lowered prices, and they have a really good capital base. So like this is completely aside. Like I'm not saying buy Tesla or buy calls, anything like that, because I still think it's overvalued. But I wouldn't bet against this company if you're bullish on the EV space. Like I would bet against all the other EV manufacturers, because those guys, they can't afford to lower prices.
Yeah, them doing that opens up the tax credit for a lot of people, and it also undercuts the competition.
Yeah, this is the point, especially going into recessions, where the companies with more capital, less leverage, more pricing power, more economies of scale, this is the point when those companies take over and steal market share from the small guys that have too much leverage, don't have enough capital, can't afford to lower prices. So, like, if you're bullish long-term in the EV sector and you think, like, recession is going to hit the entire sector, like, Tesla is probably going to come out of this in a much better position relative to the other EV companies.
But does lowering the price of their actual like product really make them more valuable, right? Like, have you seen Apple drop their iPhone prices during times like this? Like, it seems like they're gradually always increasing the price because they know what they have.
Hey, something we're missing too is battery technology is actually getting better. So Tesla's biggest cost is actually their batteries. But with the new technology that's getting ready to hit, the cost of that is going to help bring down the cost and increase their margins for their cars. I mean, and just talking about EVs, I mean, I'm looking at Canoo right now. I thought they were going bankrupt and they're rallying almost 7% today.
I mean, the way I look at them, like, forget Elon Musk, forget all the hype, forget all that bullshit. Just look at like the business, right? And Tesla has evidently a very strong business. Like, forget the valuation, stock price. They have a very strong business. The growth rate is ridiculous, and they're doing what I'm pretty sure they're like laying off people, right? So like, if they have to lay off people, for example, they have to cut costs to protect their margins. That's what every other like growth company is doing right now, you know? And a lot of those growth companies, the stock prices are rallying on the news. Like, you see Google, before the lawsuit was announced, they said they were cutting staff, and the stock price is up like 6% on Google, like a mega cap. So in terms of a business, I would look at them similarly to all those other big name stocks, the really big companies that have a really strong business, and say and treat them like similarly. You know, if you're bullish on them cutting costs, laying off people, lowering prices, then you should be bullish on Tesla too. Aside, again, this is aside from valuation, aside from Elon Musk. So perhaps I should say you should be bullish on the business versus the stock price.
And SpaceX is still incorporated into Tesla, correct?
Don't respond.
No.
No. And I agree with you, Luce and Reptile, about it is about forward guidance and it is about their cost. And with their dropping of the price, what's your gross margin is going to be? You know, it was like 24, 25%. Is this going to knock it down below 20? Is that okay? Because they're so big now. Again, I think it will be. So look for that follow through. And hopefully, if that's what you're looking for, if you're a bull, that's what you should be looking for in the call today. See what their gross margins are going to be. Is it really going to take such a hit with this markdown?
I also don't think the smaller EV companies are the actual threat right now to Tesla. I think their biggest issue is going to be the legacy companies now actually coming out with legitimate EVs that can match up to a Model 3, right? Because a lot of them are starting to do that. And they can just as easily wait out a recession as Tesla can. So I think that's where Tesla is going to see their market share go under risk.
Oh my god, Uvixi just went to the moon, guys.
Who did?
The Uvixi. UVXY.
Yeah, I mean, it's up 8.3%, but
Wasn't that the one that reverse split?
6.5, so.
No.
Isn't that the one that just
No, it didn't reverse split. It's the other one, UVIX. No,
Gotcha.
like when it hit the minute moving average, it just kept on going green on a minute.
Let's get a couple more people up here.
So I'm waiting for Enphase to drop below $200, probably closer to 150 range, so I could buy it prior to their earnings, which they tend to do good on earnings and runs up.
I made good money on them too. Whenever it fell under 150,
Yeah, I'm thinking around that 150 range. I'll be comfortable anywhere under 170. But I mean,
Dumb and Solar Edge seem to like always run together.
yeah, they do. I like Enphase. Like I play Enphase more, but
There's also First Solar. They all kind of run like in sympathy.
yeah, because Enphase they have their earnings in February, right?
Yeah. I'm just trying to digest exactly what the Enphase's exposure is because I have solar on some of my house, well, my house and then some rentals. Um, I mean, they're a pretty decent company. It's a nice product.
I agree, and I like the volatility on it, which makes it a very profitable stock. Runs up on earnings, probably for like a month or two, and then it starts dwindling down, all the way down as low as possible till the next earnings.
Yeah, they do have very volatile weekly option chain, like 5,
Yeah,
6 weeks.
you can make a killing on Enphase. So if you see that shit hit 150 or even lower, load up for earnings. Earnings is 2.7, by the way, February 7th.
Hey, sorry I'm at work, so I might have some background noise. Two things. Y'all were talking about Tesla. I think one of the big things to think about too with the price cuts is like kind of the psychology behind it. People get into Tesla, it's fucking cool and shit like that. But people sit there and save up for it, and all of a sudden they chop the price down, and now all of a sudden you can afford it. I feel like that's going to give it a nice volume pop. It's like people don't really. I don't see people saving up for an iPhone in the same way they save up for a car. And their production numbers and sales numbers always like to give it a nice run. And the other thing was this one ticker I've been looking at, CB Chubb Limited. I don't know what the hell it is, honestly. I just saw someone make a comment on it in the daily chat, but this thing just does not give a shit what the rest of the market's doing. Like, it's hanging out green right now. I kind of think it's going to do one of those pullbacks on its earnings that it's done in the past, but it just kind of keeps going up. Does anyone have any other information on this thing?
Basically, it's a high-end property and casualty company. So think your homeowner, boat insurance, and all that stuff to the affluent. So they take in lots of premium. They're kind of, I wouldn't say recession-proof, but it's definitely one of those. These people don't miss their payments. So that's their general business. I've never been invested in it before. I just know of the company. Some of my customers used to. A lot of my customers have that.
Almost feels pretty safe to jump into some leaps. Not really sure what price to go at or if to wait for a pullback, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to not catch it and it runs up on its earnings. But yeah, you make a really good point on it being kind of recession proof, luxury goods and all that.
These aren't the people that are going to be selling their cars or houses, at this point. So that's one of the things they're going to have to keep paying for. And frankly, most of the natural disasters, if you want to call it that, in the last few years, it's made their premiums go up, which means, again, it's fattening their margins on the bottom line.
Well, you can also look into a second-hand luxury market. There's a company called The Real Real. It basically deals like luxury items that's being sold on the second-hand market.
Are they traded? You have the ticker?
Yeah, it's just Real, REAL. Hey, Luz, any chance you're gonna reopen Archegos again?
Yes. Oh, somebody asked. Oh, go ahead.
What would you do differently next time?
More leverage. It wasn't enough. We'll see. Meta's. You think Meta's rally over the past 2 months or something? You ain't seen nothing. Someone asked, "What do I think of UNH?" It's United Healthcare, right? I think they're a solid company, really good business, good retirement stock. That's my, I guess, opinion on the fundamentals of the stock. But fuck insurance companies in general because they're scams, and I hate all insurance companies. So that's my opinion.
Healthcare tends to do well in a recession, so it's got that going for it.
It's true.
Just like a gym membership.
Well, we're not in a recession.
Not yet.
Spider 500, let's go.
Yeah, I think it's doing the opposite right now.
Yeah, you picked a hell of a day to call that.
Yeah, you got to call it on the down days.
We haven't been in a recession in 10 years. We're fine.
I feel like this is just going to prolong, like this is going to be the longest slow drop that the world's ever seen.
I mean, that's kind of the idea, is to bleed out the economy slowly enough.
Kick the bucket down the road. That's what we got to do.
Is that the idea of a soft landing? I don't know. You only skid one knee.
That's your guys' definition. For me, we've been in a recession since last year.
Lord Barry failed us.
Someone asked what the solar company you guys mentioned. What was it?
Enphase, ENPH.
First Solar.
Oh, Enphase, ENPH, and First Solar, FSLR, I believe, for the person that asked.
Actually, Solar may be a good play.
Yeah, but don't touch Enphase until it drops, like, 170, 150, even better. And assuming it's before earnings.
No one really talks about Tesla. Sorry, Brad. Tesla acquiring the solar company. They get no value for that, or is that just dead in the water?
I think they're too highly priced. I think they're just more expensive than all their competitors.
It's not all the investors hated that move from Elon.
You're talking about Solar City?
Right.
Yeah, when he basically bought the broke company.
It's always weird to me when I see people with like one karma, but then they have like a ton of comments. So if you guys could all go in the comments and oh, never mind, that was 2 days ago. Something interesting I wanted to do, and let me get your feedback on this, is have a bot that tallies up the average karma every comment is receiving on the daily thread, and try and encourage people to upvote more. So I'm wondering what kind of prizes or events can we host if people pass like certain threshold on the daily threads. I'm thinking like flare games maybe, but
Wendy's gift cards,
free Pornhub subscription,
preferably stuff that does not cost me money.
Oh, I was gonna say shares of Rick.
No, just free passes.
How about Ravencoin? That's cheap enough.
Oh, God, I'm not here to
free
celebrate.
passes?
OnlyFans.
Down with free passes, man.
Although, if you guys want free, totally serious question here. If I got free passes to Rick's and handed them out on the call, would you guys actually use them or?
Yeah, I'll take my autistic 8-year-old.
I mean, free is in my price range, so.
You're giving free passes to strip clubs, and you're wondering if people are going to use them?
Well, I don't know how far you guys live from a strip club. Maybe it's like 6 hours and you're not going to make the trip. The U.S. is pretty big.
I'm like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm about 30 minutes.
How do you guys already know this? Okay, I see.
Has that been
I
there?
live close to Baltimore. What do you expect?
I work there.
Opinion, you don't invest in things that you're not going to take an interest in, right? You got to research.
Google Maps comes up 28 minutes to the Skin Palace.
Skin Palace. Please tell me that's not the real name.
No, they're just ad-lib.
Okay, thank God.
I still want to give credit to that guy who said OnlyFans IPOs with a ticker similar thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. And I want them to compensate me for that idea.
Google searches strip clubs near me just went up like 1,000%.
Maybe for Rick's. Yeah, Rick's just went up. Opinion, does Rick's have gay strip clubs?
I would answer you, but I don't know. I'm not.
It's okay to be gay. There's nothing wrong with that.
What about Magic Mike's?
Rick's
Your passes for
Grinder
that?
Airplay.
There's a whole list on CNBC if you want to go Google those names.
Maybe he's more into T-girls.
I think we've gone off the rails here, but
Hey,
I would
you
like
brought
to
it up.
I just want to shout out r/Myran, MIRAN. It's a great sub, very similar to r/Myran. You should all go check it out, preferably on a home network.
I wonder if gay strip club has ever been searched at a Bloomberg terminal. Or I should say, how many times has it been searched? Probably.
Well, Bloomberg chats are very closely monitored, so not sure if that's something you want to be doing on your terminal.
Oh, I know. I've worked on one. That's why I made the joke. And it's absurd. I know.
Hey, Luce, do they publish no?
You can see keystrokes and who went where. Exactly what you do.
Does who publish what?
I was going to say, do they?
I was doing research on Rick's and related topics.
I was wondering if they publish any, you know how like the CPA organization, CFA organization publish evil, bad doers, people who've lost their charter and the heinous crimes they've committed. I was wondering if there's any other equivalents to that. Always down to read some juicy stories. I mean, most of the time it's just like, oh, this person stole a bunch of money from the company. And that's kind of boring, but sometimes there's interesting stories in there.
So I'm actually looking at interest rate for solar loans. Holy shit. A couple years ago it was 0%. Now it's like close to 6.
Hey, it's still better than a firm.
Yeah, freaking
Little
15-20% on that shit.
Little better credit quality than the buy here, pay here kind of stuff like we talked about. I've got some fun stories for opinion being on the road and actually supervised investment reps. I've got some nasty stories I don't want to share here too, but yeah, I used to read people's emails. There's a lot of bad doings out there in the world.
So we still bullish on Grinder?
Grinder, I barely know her.
I think that's kind of the point of the app.
We got some nice white noise playing for you to relax all the folks while the markets are down today. Thank you for the white noise opinion.
Wants to hear a degenerate ass play.
Yes.
Okay, so y'all know that I bought 2 contracts of SoFi late yesterday for 9 cents a piece. All right. I ended up buying more because it went down today at 3 cents a piece. So I had 4 contracts worth an average cost of 6 cents each. I decided to buy 2 more because they went down to 2 cents. And I bought 2 more at 2 cents. Those executed. Average contract or average cost is now down to 0.0467 per share. And I'm buying 2 more at 2 cents. And it's not executing because it's sitting at 3. So I'm like, fuck. Oh, I'm literally seeing the anxiety that you guys run through every day, and I know what it is now, finally. I'm here.
I remember my first option trade.
Actually, Mass made money.
Well,
on
this is the first
trade.
weekly I've ever done, though. Like, my first option trade is longer dated. This is the first weekly I've aggressively pursued.
Remember, Mass, weekly options are a great way to lose all your money in a week.
That's right.
So the Bank of Canada hiked rates once again, unexpectedly. Expectedly. Another quarter basis point. Another quarter. Oh my God, 25 basis points. But they were hinting that this could be the terminal rate if the economic conditions align with their outlook. So Canada is significantly smaller than the US, as you may all know. So I'm not sure exactly what that means for the US, but it is, I would hope, a good sign that we're nearing the top. And for context, I think we're at 4.5%. So good times maybe for the US ahead.
I don't think the U.S. Fed is anywhere near done raising rates. Sorry, opinion. And I definitely don't think they're going to base any of that off of Canada. No offense, opinion.
Yeah, for us in the U.S., I hope nobody plans to buy a house anytime soon.
I'll be honest, opinion, they said the same thing last quarter over here in Canada.
Yeah, opinion.
Sorry.
Fried.
Sorry, guys.
Wait, his opinion isn't popular, you know.
First of all, we appreciate you sharing with us. We do. Second of all, super Canadian of you to get made fun of by like multiple people and your conclusion to be that you should apologize.
Sorry.
I definitely apologize a lot. We'll see. We'll see next quarter if they raise it again.
Hey, wait. If you're Canadians, how come you're always accused of working for Citadel?
That's, I really don't understand. The Canadian office for Citadel is literally like 5 people.
No logic-based questions, please. We're just all working for Citadel, okay? No, there's no
Isn't
room
it
for
based
logic.
on the outreach program?
I thought you guys worked for Citadel. What the
Yes,
hell?
and the Earth is flat. 9/11 is conspiracy. The COVID's not real, and we
No,
work
no.
for
Let me
Citadel.
explain how this works. Citadel partners with the facility I attend, which is a special needs facility for those with intellectual disabilities.
What Opinion's saying is he's a retard.
Listen, Opinion and Loose and all the mods here make jokes about it, but isn't that exactly what a secret Citadel shill would do to try to distract you
That
from
is
the fact
exactly
that they
what
continue
Kick him.
to distract you from the fact that they continue to stop the MOAS by not letting us talk about GME and how guaranteed that play is? I'm just saying.
The MOAS is dead. All your stocks are belong to us.
Our belong. I fucking love it.
You just dated yourself a little bit with that reference, Loose.
I mean, I studied culture. You know what I mean? Hey, one of my favorite comedians is Don Rickles. Doesn't mean I was alive when he was, hopping and bopping around town at the Copacabana. I'm a man of history and culture.
So you have bloody steak, scotch, and a cigar for dinner at least 3 times a week, right?
Agreed.
At
Hey, just read some comments. Let's see. Somebody said, yes, I would use the Rick's passes. Somebody asked a question, said, wait, Pornhub is free. Another person said, opinion, I think giving out unique flare names every day would be a cool prize. It's funny is we used to do that when we cared. And another comment, Big Joe Third says, gay.
Excellent. Well, special thanks to the high value last one, but last comment. Yeah, I used to honestly just jump in daily, and just randomly give out flare without even saying anything. And then I remember one day, I guess we'd grown so big that I started doing it, and every time I'd refresh and wait for people to see that they've got flare and then get excited about it. And then just no one did. It was I'd give out a bunch of flares, which by the way takes a lot of time. So, look at their comment history, try and find something interesting about them. It's hard for some of you. And then yeah,
It's hard work, okay, guys? Giving out flare.
Paid for with our good Reddit karma, whichever. Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
what that
all you guys that work really hard throughout the day, maybe ER, nurse, or construction worker, fireman,
You're welcome.
firefighter. No, you're not the hard workers. Giving flare, you got to have some perspective here, okay?
Listen, being a full-time mod means taking on a whole second job, and you're not even paid. That is so much work for Opinion right there. When he gets home,
I can send you
from
some
doing what he
CBE
does,
now.
when Opinion gets home from working at the factory, it is so hard that he has to go through and flare people one by one with his hands shaking, covered in just sweat from the day's work. But he does it for us.
He goes from the factory to Citadel to, yeah, that's also known as a mine. He goes from the
On behalf
mine to
of
Citadel to
everyone,
here.
thank you.
I weep for the mods who aren't paid ever. That's not us, of course, because we're hedgies.
Yes, exactly.
Listen, WallStreetBets doesn't charge us to be here. And isn't the rule if you're not getting charged, then you're the product, right?
We actually, very similar, we learned from our mentors how to scrape karma. So every time somebody upvotes your comments, we just, take a few upvotes off the top. And that's where our karma comes from. So that's our compensation.
Is that the next crypto? Is Karma Coin? You generate it by upvoting people?
We are karma market makers.
Crypto King, baby.
Yeah, my salary from moderating Wall Street Bets is a very promising $0 and 0 cents.
What's the EBITDA on Karma Point?
So it's paid in pesos, though, right?
No, Karma's far more valuable.
Yeah. At least you guys get karma over here. Twitch, it's even worse now.
What's your
Last time
cash
I
flow
checked,
looking like?
the peso was trading at what 9 cents to the dollar.
It's about the same rate for Karma.
Yeah, I had like a couple of people accuse me of working for Goldman Sachs. I'm like, wow, I'm honored.
Somebody commented, said these people sound like such Reddit mods. That's correct. We are Reddit mods. Yes. Opinion. You sound very much like a Reddit mod, is what this comment here says.
And my question is, have I changed to become a Reddit mod, or have Reddit mods changed to become like me? Or am I the only Reddit mod you've ever heard speak? And Simple and Loose, of course.
As a Canadian, I think you should apologize for that whole statement.
Sorry. Loose is definitely paid. I'm outing you. We already knew.
Yeah, somebody's dumping a shitload of 20-year treasury.
There's only one explanation, and it's that Canada's doing it.
So to get a little market focused, AIR, ticker AEHR, continues to just keep going up and not stopping. So that's been going on for a while now.
I'm seeing some interesting accusations in the comments. Who is that Brannigan? I don't know who was. Is it me? I don't think I sound like that Brannigan. And then somebody said I sound like V from Cyberpunk. Why you guys spill my secrets?
Cyberpunk? I haven't read that book.
I think you should apologize for that joke.
Sorry. Sorry.
I can smell the maple syrup.
Sorry, that was just breakfast.
You guys have breakfast?
So opinion, how about those Maple Leafs, eh?
Opinion, when are they going to release more maple syrup into the economy? Prices are going up, inflation's getting higher. What's up with big syrup?
Big syrup. I have no clue. Syrup is surprisingly not a large part of our economy, unfortunately. It's mostly real estate because we're an advanced economy, you know.
That's
No
just what big syrup wants you to believe.
What
You
about
guys
your
it literally
reserve?
grows on trees, so there's not a huge profit margin.
But they literally have strategic reserves. How often do you visit those, Opinion?
How often do what? Do we go through our strategic reserves?
No, do you visit them for visual check, make sure they're all right?
Oh, oh, you're right. Maybe the whole thing's been liquidated.
How much money does Daddy Kenny have invested in the SSR, the Strategic Syrup Reserves?
Well, as you know, Daddy Kenny actually owns everything. He owns all of Canada. So, by corollary, he also owns the strategic reserve.
I actually heard Trudeau drew down almost the entire reserve and replaced it with corn syrup. It's a major scandal right now in Canada. There's going to be multiple court cases. It's crazy. People are testing right now. They're
It's
saying
the
it doesn't taste right.
I was gonna say it's the Canadian version that there's no gold in Fort Knox, right?
Oh, it's worse. It's absolutely worse.
Trudeau drew down Kenneth Griffin, Canada Griffin. Coincidence? I don't think so.
You heard it here. You heard it here, folks. Holy shit!
I heard he DRS'd all the maple syrup. It's terrible.
Oh my god! Too much.
My stomach hurts. Stop.
Heritage. We're not even talking about the meese yet. Yeah, that's right. I said meese, plural of moose.
On a real note, though, I heard your housing market is absolutely screwed as your rates go up, because your rates adjust with the housing market, right? Or sorry, your interest rates on houses aren't fixed, right, in Canada?
They are, well, so most people get fixed rates, but we don't have 30-year terms. We have 5-year terms at the longest. Almost everyone gets a 5-year term. But anything beyond that is like pretty much bespoke and very expensive. So everyone gets 5-year terms. That being said, like, I don't know, when the rates start kicking off in earnest, like 2021. So we've got to like 2026 till, people start getting hurt. But I mean, we're still early days of 2023 and we're already talking about maybe this quarter, next quarter, or the quarter after that, we're going to like level off with interest rates. So if it's even like this year that interest rates level off, that's still like another 2 years that people have, or 2 or 3 years that people have to, or the economy has to bring interest rates back down. So I don't think people are necessarily as screwed as a lot of people make it out to be. And not to mention, through all that time, there's going to be, potentially there's going to be home appreciation and people are going to be paying down their mortgages.
Did you say homo appreciation?
I always appreciate the homos, specifically homo milk. 3.25%.
But not homo vets.
So what I hear from that opinion is in 2025, I should go incredibly short on Canada and the Canadian housing market in particular. Thank you.
I really don't think it's going to collapse. Yeah, but
I think we got a bunch of Homo sapiens up here. You guys are fucking Homo sapiens.
I'm actually a Robotron.
Hey, Opinion, real quick. You said you guys have 5-year mortgages?
Yeah,
Did I hear that right?
Yep.
How much is like an average house up there?
Well, that's Canada's a very large country.
10
If
million
you look
karma.
if you look at places around like the GTA, which is the most, I guess, desirable place to live, then it's probably around, maybe on average, I guess I would say like $1 million, somewhere around there. Probably the same around Vancouver as well. Canadian. And then I guess everywhere else, probably like 600,000. My random out of my ass guess. Which is not like, it is objectively fairly expensive, but I think in terms of what you get and property taxes here, at least relative to New York state, are significantly lower.
So what's the payment on a $1 million home with 20% down over a 5-year term at 3%, 5% interest. I mean, what is
Oh
it
my
like?
God.
You guys are paying like 30,000 a month?
Sorry. So to be clear, it's amortized over 30 years, or 25 years. But
Okay.
you get your, yeah.
So the interest rate is only good for 5 years, but then after that they readjust it.
Yes, exactly.
So it's like a 5-year arm.
So your rates are fixed every 5 years. It's a different rate.
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay. I was like, $1 million home for 5 years. I'm like, what is going on up there?
Well, you guys don't make $100,000 a month? You should get on the Citadel wagon.
Also, keep in mind when opinion says Canada is very large. While that's true landmass-wise, much of the north is not really habitable, unless you wish to ride your polar bear in and out of work every day.
That's where the meat.
Well, I know the population of Canada is significantly smaller than the U.S. And I know it's just land, which is pretty cool. But
All this Canada appreciation is going to make me cry.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't make you vomit.
we can start talking about veterans.
Oh no, opinion really doesn't like the veterans. He doesn't like that.
I have no issue with the veterans. But speaking of
You have it
Tesla,
on record, opinion. Look at that. In quickly changing the subject from veterans.
I've concluded opinion doesn't hate veterans. He was mad that they got so much free food that he didn't have access to.
yeah, you know what free food we have up here? Nothing.
Poutine?
But we do
Is it
have.
poutine?
No, we don't have free food up here. There's no occasion where you just go to places and they give you free stuff. I guess birthdays sometimes.
Other than the hospital, right?
What happens in your hospitals?
You don't want to know. It's bad.
You pay like $700 for an ambulance ride?
Oh, yeah.
700. That's it. Must be nice. So
Actually,
fun story. Fun story for you guys. 2019, my wife and I were in the kitchen and she accidentally stabbed me in the arm and there was blood everywhere. And we didn't call an ambulance. I was like, we can't, it's too expensive. I mean, we could have afforded it, but still. So drove to the hospital and yeah, that was pretty crazy. Fun stuff.
I thought you said this was a fun story.
Oh, I said funny.
He ended with fun stuff, so
yeah. Oh man, come on! I only had 2 surgeries on it since then, so it's fine.
it's like saying, "Hey, I have a funny story about Japan nearly causing like sperm whales to go extinct. They almost killed them all, and then the world was like, hey, Japan, you got to stop killing all the freaking whales." Fun stuff. See, now it's a fun story.
I thought that was pretty good. I mean, his wife, stabs him, and then they laugh about it. They go to the hospital, and it's all good. Perfectly normal stuff that happens in a typical marriage.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah,
But,
I believe his the last thing he said before being stabbed by his wife was, "What are you gonna do? Stab me?"
Actually, I asked, is this the right pot holder? And apparently it wasn't.
And the moral of that story is long United Healthcare. We've gone full circle.
But speaking of medical, that first surgery, I got the bill, and luckily I didn't have to pay this. It was about $63,000, and I was there from 6 in the morning. Surgery was like an hour, and then woke up, got out of there around 1. So 63 grand. Yeah.
Hey guys, I was sorry, I'm at work, man, so I'm kind of in and out of here, but I'm always listening. I don't know if you talked about it, but I actually posted a link that I just saw posted. You guys were talking about the tanks being sent to Russia. Posted it in the comments. Apparently, those Leopard tanks take extensive training as well. Anyway, just filling you in.
Thank you.
And the U.S. is sending the Abrams tanks over. I heard you guys saying they weren't, but in this article it says they are.
Well, this is Wall Street Bets, the America's finest news source. So
Yeah, what are you going to use? Twitter? No, actually, please use Twitter. Please follow me and like some of my comments because I have to delete a lot of my
Chill.
posts because they don't get any liked. Look, Kenny said he'd give me 1 cent for every follower.
Also, make sure to or follow the YouTube and subscribe to the Discord or whatever the hell it is. I don't remember Discord.
yeah, go to the Wall Street Bets YouTube channel and dislike and report. Smash that report button. That's what they say, right?
Great advertisers. What can I say? I didn't even stick you the links anymore because I feel like too much shillery.
And remember, in the comments, mention your favorite stock and why it's going to go to the moon.
How many of you guys are millionaires yet?
Hey, opinion. So not only I, but the rest of Reddit world, we're waiting on the average price for the home in Ottawa. Have you guys figured that out yet?
We have not.
No,
All right, we'll get back to you. We put our top politicians on it.
I believe the employment market has shown great strength. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, if you ask a realtor, they'll tell you it's a great time to buy, and they've got the data to prove it. So, I mean, I don't know what the big issue is.
Is it a buyer's market? Oh, good. No, you're selling. It's a seller's market, right? The wind can blow both ways.
So, opinion, does your politicians normally bicker back and forth like that and ask a question but not answer it? Or is that typical or?
Actually, in Canada, when politicians have an issue with someone, they just suggest euthanasia and then move on.
No, you get
No, that's
prosecuted for
Texas.
practicing medical without a license.
Oh, that's literally Canada. That is a thing that has happened.
Well, I know, but if you tell somebody to off themselves, you will get prosecuted for practicing medicine without a license.
According to CanadaImmigrants.com, the average cost of a home in Ottawa is $610,800.
See, it wasn't that hard. Why couldn't your politician do that?
Does that include the classes to take and learn French?
C'est la vie.
That's Montreal and Quebec, not Ottawa and Ontario.
Yeah, close enough.
You know, where I'm at in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, the people who become real estate agents and get into real estate, a lot of them are people who failed out of finance and accounting degrees because, you know, they weren't smart enough. So those are the people selling you homes in Texas.
And further that too, so are a lot of your PNC and life insurance salespeople. It's very easy test to pass. You don't need a degree.
Yeah, life insurance. A lot of the guys, a lot of the people that fail out of those, finance, economics, accounting degrees. Yeah, they go work for like Northwestern Mutual.
Another Canadian question. When Trudeau finally decides to quit being the king of Canada, will he go become the king of Cuba since he's part of their royal bloodline? Tough crowd. My bad.
He's too busy being Canadian
This is
or something.
As the tradition, when he leaves his office, he will dip his hands into the pudding, as is tradition.
Just gonna read some comments real quick before I depart. Let's see. Oh, a few more accusations of being Zat Brannigan. Somebody said, gave a full paragraph about Zat Brannigan, how it's considered a great hero, but he's, he's all sorts of bad things. Good copy paste from Futurama Wiki. I see that. And let's see what else we got. Sorry.
Just telling me where the shorts though.
And then last comment I'll read here. Good comment. Rosum 2557. I want to stab loose ventures with cock. Cock is all caps. So on that note, I will depart. Thank you. Fine.
Cock
ladies
or
and gentlemen.
caulk?
No, definitely cock. Yeah. COCK all caps. He's very clear about that. Farewell. And for those impressed with my very high level of intelligence I've displayed, obviously, you can listen to me talk about behavioral finance later.
Be well, Luz.
Where's that?
Take
That's
care,
on my
Luz. We'll be there.
profile. Yeah, on my profile is 7 p.m. Eastern.
All right.
Bye,
See if
Luz.
I can
Make sure
chime
you
in.
don't do anything that wouldn't be okay on the streets while you're gone.
Thanks, Luz. Thanks,
I
Luz. Have a good
am
one.
the streets. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Or y'all can hang out still, obviously.
Good day, sir.
Ciao.
Only about ciao.
All right, now that he's gone, we can discuss some real plays that could actually make money.
Fundamentals, earnings.
So, as a value investor, I believe it's very important that the following stocks be brought up. First, Ape.
Damn it, I couldn't find the unmute button. I was going to say I bet you're going to mention 8. But I missed that opportunity. Damn it.
Definitely feels like the classroom as soon as the teacher left. Rad was like, yeah.
Listen, it's like one of the few stocks I actually own that this sub would even vaguely care about. So,
again, you're consistent. Right?
Unless you want to talk about really boring mining companies no one cares about, I got Ape.
I've made a few book. I mean, nothing like major, but I bought several hundred shares at I think 99 cents and sold it at $1.40 the first time, and then somewhere I think I bought in like $1.29, $1.30 something, sold it at $1.70, and I bought some more back when it's back at $1.30 again. So we'll see.
I don't know when, but at some point they're going to actually put a date on that vote, and it's going to normalize with AMC. Now, AMC is going to go down a lot more than Ape is going to go up, but I do think it's going to go up.
I only see one opinion, and he hasn't said anything. So I wonder if the real one fell off. I know it's the YouTube one, but
I see two.
Why ain't it take more then?
Dude, I gotta go fix cars. Have a good day. Don't lose too much money. Talk to you tomorrow.
Who's got earnings today?
Yeah, I'm also gonna say goodbye, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, but things to be done. Y'all be well.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Thanks, Opinion.
Thanks, Opinion.
Thanks, Opinion. Have a nice day.
I love you.
Love you
Did
too.
I just end the call?
Thanks, Opinion.
Yeah, thanks, Reptile, you degenerate fuck.
Hell
love
yeah, I
Canadians.
have the power.
Fuck you, Rad.
Cheers, everyone. Goodbye.